This is a damper flange out of the 1867 Chickering 33B. And as you can see, it's got a crack in it. And that split will stop the flange from holding the center pin stable, so the damper lever will not be stable. So I've got to repair this. And I'll show you how I go about that. Now, as you can see, that crack is kind of small, so I use these to spread it open just a little bit. They are center pins that I have filed down at a bit of an angle so that I can slip one in one side. Don't know if I'll be able to do this. I like to use an old micrometer to apply just a little bit of pressure and open that crack up just a bit. And that you can see it's open a little bit below the hole in the upper sections. Quite accessible. Well, my preferred glue for practically any repair in wood is hide glue. So I thought I would show a little bit about basically what it is. This is, I guess the scientific name would be hydrolyzed collagen. It's basic animal protein. The first cousin to Jello, but not so refined. But it's made in much the same way. Put a little bit in the ever-present cat food can. Add a little bit of water. Something to stir it up with. Need a little more water. And in a little bit, this will have all melted into a nice honey-like consistency. The water is probably, I don't know, 120 Now I can keep my fingers in it. It's not boiling. You probably shouldn't take hide glue up past 140 if you don't want to break it down and lose some of its gel strength. So I'll get this fully melted. Here's the whole system in action. Cat food can, bit of tin over it, and a lid on that. Pull that off a little bit, it will boil otherwise. And I'll give that 5 minutes. There is nice fresh hide glue. Let's see. Hide glue, because you mix it with water, can be pretty much any thickness you like. But there's a misconception that it's meant to be used like Elmer's or Tight Bond, you know, in a very thick consistency. And that's not necessarily the case with hide glue. Hide glue is a thin set glue, and you really only want it thick if gap filling is a consideration. I'm trying to work just a little bit of water in there. Otherwise, it's supposed to be no thicker than warm maple syrup. Because if you mix it up and mix it up thin, if you touch it between your fingers, you'll feel that it does still have a lot of material in it. That's the collagen behavior. It suspends itself equally in the liquid, no matter how much or how little there is of it. So even when it's thin, there's material all the way through the solution. So I'm going to give this just a little more water. I'm going to warm it up one more time. And we'll glue that flange. Well, my glue is nice and hot and of the right consistency. So it's really just a matter of, I try to get a little bit into that open cracks at the bottom. I don't have too much hope for it, and I don't rely on it, but I try anyway. But ultimately what I'm trying to do is get the glue in there. And I think right now you're seeing one of the reasons I like hide glue, because if this was Tight Bond, this would be making a terrible, terrible mess, instead of just being see if I can get this to look good in the light here so you can see what happens. But basically, let's hold it open and pull the pins. up a little bit. And once again, these old micrometers make great little precision clamps with perfectly parallel big flat faces. And just give that a little squeeze. See that? There we go. Okay. Free the part from the support. And, let's see, I think I want to center that a little better. There we go. There's some resistance. And you see there is a bit of squeeze out below the hole and on the sides. So I'm satisfied with the penetration. And I'm just going to take a little warm water and clean this up. Stay in camera here a little bit anyway. There's always an awkward angle. But you can see what I've done. And yeah, the glue inside the hole is a concern, and I will clear that out with a little bit of wet thread in a moment. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. And basically, floss it out. Has two effects. It both cleans any glue squeeze out from inside, and it allows any dents inside to absorb some water and gain some of their dimensional correctness back. And we'll just let this dry for a little while before the next step. Okay, there's the flange glued back together. And the next stage is to put a small notch in the end here. I try to keep it in the middle. And just more. Oops, getting a little loose here. can see I'm getting a certain depth there. Don't want to take this too far. I don't want to cut into the pinhole, but there. Gives us a slot down the end. Okay. Now that we have our slot cut and a little high glue heated up, slip a little bit into the slot here.
Oh, man.
And I will add a little glue to my veneer slot and just seat that like that. And just to make cleanup easier, while the glue's still wet, come through and try and clean out your crevices a little bit here. Get the corner clean. There. And that'll make for easier cleanup once it's dry. Okay, and after trimming it up with a razor blade, you can see how I'm left with a small spline running it basically at 90 degrees to the fault in the shank, or the fault in the flange. And this is just a reinforcement because I did glue the flange together to begin with, and this is a nice durable fix. And after all the cleaning and all the moisture I've put into this thing, the hole does fit an 047 pin. The original pin that came out of it was 048. So when it comes time to pin this up, it will have a nice pinning friction of 1/1000th of an inch, which is just enough squeeze in this old wood to give you a nice firm pin hold. And this repair is completely capable of holding that pin stable. So that's the way I repair a broken flange. Hope it proves helpful. Thanks for watching.